I need to come in now. We have such a limited time. But very quickly, let's talk about the office of the citizen. Now, even though it seems like a number of people, Nigerians, would like to see real-time electronic transmission of results. However, what we've seen pass in the Senate disagrees with that. What can the people do, since the senators are there as representatives and voices of the people in their constituents? Where does the office of the citizen come into play, and how can we use our power?
I think citizens have to raise their voices. I know that the Situation Room organized a protest last week. I believe that this will continue. I think the labor unions, citizens, the media has been doing an excellent job, even in your program. Your analysis and your comments on these issues are so very important, and it is important that this continues. What I see has been passed is really the views of those who have the power to hit the gavel and decide whether a yes is a yes or a no is a no in terms of voting. But I know that a lot of senators themselves are very aggrieved by the way the gavel have been hit on this matter. And I think that citizens should canvass that the version that the House of Representatives has passed, which is very much more in consonance with the consultations that the National Assembly has had with citizens, should be what is retained. But as it is today, what the National Assembly has done in the Senate particularly, and this is not the views of majority of senators, I am told, what has happened is going to create electoral chaos. There is no way that these timelines that the Senate has tampered with will stand in terms of INEC's logistics preparations. What has happened is that electoral chaos will be created by these new timelines that the Senate has put out as its position.
Do we have time to fix all of this?
I think there's time. I believe that the committees, the harmonization committees, RUFAI, have been created by both the House and the Senate, and there will be a meeting of that harmonization committee on Tuesday next week. We believe that if both committees are able to harmonize, then there's enough time. But like Ruben said at the beginning, there is a subsisting electoral act. INEC should proceed to issue notice of elections, because last time elections held in 2023, it was in February, and INEC still should, in fact, acting on the basis of existing law, proceed with issuing its notice of elections, which says 360 days.
Well, thank you very much for your time with us, Mr. Clement Nwankwo. Definitely a conversation that is only just beginning and will continue in the next few hours, few days by stakeholders.
All right. Welcome, everybody. How you doing? Shout out to you, Sister Marriott. How are you doing? Yeah, let's have a conversation around political roundtable once again. You all know me. If you follow this channel, of course, you know I'm a supporter of Peter Obi. And as the polity is heating up in Nigeria and election prep is on top gear, I just felt that it's time I monitor what's going on with my candidate. But here we are with a new development in the Nigerian Electoral Act. If you are very vast with the development in the Nigerian politics, you know that electoral reform is one of the big questions people have when it comes to this 2027 election. Now, as a quick reminder, let me bring you guys back to what happened in 2023 election. So in 2023, the former INEC chairman no, it's not Jiga, Mahmoud, the man we call Mahood. I like to call him Mahood at times. I'm sorry. That man disappointed everybody. But just to give you backstory, we have to give Mahood his flowers. So Mahood, for the first time, introduce electronic process into Nigeria election. And that was very, very welcoming. People actually said, oh, yeah, this man has done a great job. He brought in Beavers, IREV, and all those other technological jargons that goes along with it. And to everyone's credit, of course, to his credit, he conducted a couple of elections using the Beavers and the IREV, and those elections are really credible elections. We cannot take that away from him. Those elections are credible elections. However, when it comes to the presidential election, he dropped the balls because it was only during the presidential election we got the news that somehow, miraculously, the Beavers, the electoral results cannot be transmitted through the IREV. The server was down and the story started. And the whole process was going on smoothly, like everybody was kind of like, I love this. For the first time, Nigerians are going to get a president they voted for. But then Mahmoud and his team said, the server is down, the internet is down, nothing is working, we can't do jack. We are going to count this result manually. And that's how Mahmoud ended up announcing the result of the presidential election in the middle of the night. And since then, there's been a lot of people in Nigeria who believes that the current president, did not win the election, that the election was rigged. They went to court, the opposition party, Atiku Abubakar, as well as Mr. Peter Obi, they all went to court to challenge the result. But again, the Electoral Tribunal, while they were making their judgment on the issue, they emphasized that all the evidence presented, I wish I had time to go and fetch some of those videos so you guys can see. So they were of the opinion that all the evidence presented by Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi, no, those evidence are not admissible in court. Nigeria. I tell you, when I tell you guys that in my fatherland, we have several citizens of particular concern. So the judges were like, look, everything you brought here is rubbish. All these handwritten results, all these proof of electoral malpractices, they are not admissible in this court. Unless you can go to the INEC server and bring us the result on the INEC server. And they pretend some. But in a nutshell, that has always been the bone of contention for many Nigerians, especially those who are following the political drama in the country. So since then, hey, shout out to my sister BBK. And of course, my brother Nwaneka, how you doing? So since then, people have been clamoring for electoral reform. I think because of the quest for electoral reform, this dude who now go by the name Randy Peters on TikTok and social media, he took it upon himself to advocate for electoral reform. And in fact, dude literally changed his niche. He used to do some pastors, skits and things like that, comedy kind of. But since the guy changed to advocate for electoral reform, he has garnered a lot of followers. But that is not the point. The point is, since President Tinubu came into power, they have embarked on this journey of let us have electoral reform. And the House of Rep actually did their job. In fact, they came up with a joint task force or a joint committee to examine our electoral act, and try to make adjustments. I'm gonna explain this to you in a pause. How can I make this easier for people to understand? Okay, let me just break it down like this. So the joint committee from the House of Rep and the Senate, they look at the Electoral Act and they focus on mostly how should results be transmitted. In the current Electoral Act, transmission of result was not compulsory and it was not mandatory, which means INEC can choose if they want to transmit the result directly from the polling unit to INEC server on like in real time, or if they're gonna do it the usual way, carry ballot boxes, count the vote, fill it in manually, then give it to somebody who will now drive all the way to Abuja, or maybe through phone call. Whichever way, what it boils down to is if they count the result right there at the polling unit. So let's say APC candidate has 1,000 votes, and ADC candidate have like let's say 800 votes right at the polling unit. All they have to do is, as soon as they've counted the votes and the result is APC 1,000, ADC 800, they just have to transmit it to INEC server, just like that, very fast. So therefore, everyone who was present at the polling unit, they can actually bring out their pen and paper and tell the masses, yeah, I was there, this is what went down. What they are counting right now, or what they announced, is actually what we witnessed right there at the polling unit. That was how it was supposed to be done. But there is a game changer now. There's Senate, after the joint committee has agreed that let us make the transmission of result mandatory via electronic, the Senate said no. So in case you're hearing this discussion in the Nigerian political space and you don't know what's going on, I believe I have explained to you our community members. That is what they are dragging now. Those of you in our community that because of work commitment, you really don't have time to follow up with what's going on in Nigeria, that is it right there. The Senate Joint Committee has come together and said, you know what, let us make transmission of electoral result mandatory. And they passed their resolution to the Senate, led by Akpabio of all people. And Akpabio and his people, they said they went into a closed session. And you know what happened when the Senate went into closed session? They won't do wuru be that. I don't even have to like sugarcoat it. Especially under this Akpabio. Once they said, hey, we are going to have a closed session. We will come back to it. We have a closed session. Now lie. They won't do wuru be that. So that right there is the bone of contention. If you want to join me, you are free to join. Let me share this to the real fam so they know we are live. I won't even waste time on this one today. I'm only here to pass just one message across. I'm here for one message, just one message only. And my message is for Mr. Peter Obi. Yes. He make una no verse if you want verse una. My message is for Mr. Peter Obi. And it's simple. Peter Obi, pack your load and forget about this upcoming election. That's my message. Okay? Don't bother yourself in this oncoming election. I'm not advising anybody else. So anyone else who have money to waste, you are free to go ahead though. But as far as me as I'm concerned, to my principal, the person I supported so far, my message to you is, it's time to close shop, P2B. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your resources. You are only going to cry like a baby at the end of it all. Don't let people start counting it for you. Mr. Peter Obi, do not allow people to start counting number of times you've run to become Nigeria's president. With what's going on right now, Uncle Peter Obi, pack it up. And I'm being serious. The same message I will send to all obedience. Pack it up. It's not worth it. 2027 is not worth it. 2027 is a done deal. The election is done and forgotten. In fact, what Nigerians should do right now is to just allow APC and President Tinubu to just, don't need for elections. Let them just put themselves back in office. We'll just wrap it up. Don't worry. If we can survive this far, we can survive the rest of the years until 2031. There is nothing here. It's a done deal. The reason they don't want the result to be transmitted is simple. Sister Marriott, what are you saying? The simple they don't want it to be transmitted is simple. They want the result to be handwritten. And I am shocked at this man called Akpabio. Seriously. There's no need to even give him that with all due respect something. I don't think Senator Akpabio deserves that with all due respect. I have never seen somebody who act as a rubber stamp Senate president like this, our current Senate president. Anybody, don't worry, don't think, oh, Ben, they will come for you. This is democracy. I have my freedom of speech. I'm a Nigerian. Okay? If people cannot speak, that is their own problem. He's a public figure. He works for us. We don't work for him. And if we can't call out his excess, then there is no need. This man right here you're seeing at the top, that man, Jesus, this is the worst legislator from Akwa Ibom I've ever seen. I used to think that people from Calabar, Akwa Ibom, Cross River, I used to think that they have balls. This Senate president own is different. How can you kiss? Ooh. The worst thing is this man don't even know how to go left while you are going right. At least he should have learned from his political father now, because I believe President Tinubu is now Akpabio political godfather. At least you learn from your godfather. You don't do things in a way that people will just laugh at you. The very thing that can define your legacy as a Senate president, and you just toy with it. Are you kidding me? I remember one time I was at my brother one-man show. You know, at one-man show, everything is politics. And I like to go to one-man show just to have fun, to learn. And I was there one time, and when they gave me the mic, I along my line of submission, I mentioned that the current Senate in Nigeria is a rubber stamp Senate. I know Uncle Ola disagree with me. Uncle Ola was like, "What is it? What is any constitutional issue that they haven't made the right call that I can now conclude that they are rubber stamp Senate. And I cited some example, but I think I may have to go back to one man show. In fact, I will message one man now. Make I see if Uncle One Man we actually do a show on this subject matter. This dude right here is the worst senator Nigeria has ever had. Worst Senate president. This man, yeah. I don't want to say this man no get boss. I don't even know how to put it. This is shameful and disgraceful. In case you don't know why I'm pissed, let me show you something. Wait first, make I see if my screenshot there here. Make I show you something real quick. Maybe this will make it make sense. What do I do? I don't even know. This man, I'm really pissed right now. I'm literally angry, but I'm just trying not to be angry because, you know, I'm a host and at the end of the day, it might look like, Ben, Shibina, you are not even in Nigeria. Why should you bother? I know, but what they are doing is disgraceful. It's just disgraceful. Seriously. Wanika, my brother said, result in INEC server can't be used in court because INEC has to sign it. So, Wanika, are you saying the result in INEC server is it not the same result INEC will have to? Okay, you are just being sarcastic anyway. Tamara say that's what they claim they would do at the last election. Another attempt, my sister. This thing is painful. If you are following Nigeria election and this thing not really pain you, that means you don't really know what they are doing. One guy say Senate actually just passed the old 2022 law. Exactly. That's the point. That's why I feel like let me just come and explain this thing to our community so that in case for those who are in the diaspora who don't know what's going on in Nigeria, at least they can get the information here. They literally passed the same electoral act. The one that make Bola Ahmed Tinubu election look like a rigged election. I know my brothers and sisters now, especially my Yoruba brothers and sisters, as well as Igbos that support Tinubu, they will argue. Did everybody the election? That is he won, he came first. He has 8 million votes. Yeah. I usually ask them, which is better? For you to win an election whereby everybody know that, yeah, you pull this vote, or for you to be declared the winner of an election that the vast majority of the people you are going to preside over are saying you rigged it. Which one is better? Whether you like it or not, it's going to be in history that a lot of Nigerians still believe that the 2023 election was rigged. So this is actually the bigger problem we have walking into the 2027 general election now. And we have only this year to fix this mess. Yet, Akpabio and few of his people said, no, we want to keep the old one. Okay. Sister Marriott, this will don't show me Shego. Sister Marriott, I don't tire my sister. I say, how long now? My uncle is getting older and Nigerians are tired. Hey, this is disgraceful. Welcome, Okudayo. Okudayo said, I disagree with Nwaneka. Once the electronic transmission is implemented, it will become the law. Exactly. I think Nwaneka was just being sarcastic. Okay, he said, my comment was based on 23 rules and what happened in court. You saw the sarcasm. Yeah, I know you are just being sarcastic about it. Now, for those who might have missed it, let me show you what Akpabio actually said. In case they won't come tomorrow, I need to
ensure that we do our best.
The worst Senate president.
And we do it painstakingly, taking our time to ensure that what comes out reflects the yearnings and aspirations of all Nigerians. And also to be sure that the next election, all questions connected with the next election will be answered by the amendments to the Electoral Act 2022. But the social media already is awash with the fact that the Senate has rejected electronic transmission. That is not true. That is not true. Electronic transmission had always been in our act. And what we did was to return the electronic transmission, which had been in our act and which was used in 2022. So please do not allow people to confuse you. If you're in doubt, we will make our final votes and proceedings available to you if you apply and you're entitled, so that you'll see this Senate under my watch has not rejected electronic transmission of results. It's in my interest as a participant in the next election for such to be done. So please don't go with the crowd. Don't go with the crowd. We have retained what was in the previous provision. That's all we did. So if we rejected what was proposed by way of amendment and said, let's retain what was in the previous provision, the previous provision had made allowance, had made provision for electronic transmission. So it's still there as part of our laws. And I think we should be moving forward, not moving backwards. There is no way we can, in this era of electronics, will now be going backwards. So
okay. You know something about Nigerians, especially people in position of power in Nigerians. As soon as they effed up, you will see them blabbing. That is when they will start sounding incoherent, fidgeting. You saw that with Pastor Kisley Okonkwo. Now you see it with your Senate president now. All right. I have a video sent to me by Uncle Dayo. Let me also share that video for everyone to see. Let's hear what they've got to say. You see, here we go.
We felt, those of us who are still around, that it would be necessary to make a clarification of what happened yesterday, to put the records straight. Yesterday, the Senate did not, I repeat, did not pass transfer of results, which was in the 2022 Act. What we passed, and which the Senate president himself, when he was doing a clarification sitting on his chair, is transmission of results. And I need to make this very clear. Every one of us who is a senator, who has the privilege to represent a senatorial district, came here under the trust of their senatorial zone. And the reason for us to go into a closed session was so that we can tidy up all the niggling things inside there. And when we now come back to plenary to pass it, that we will pass it without any rancor. I can assure you, on my honor and the honor of all of us who are standing here, that both the Electoral Committee of the Senate, then the ad hoc committee of the Senate, and also in the executive session that we had, that we all agreed on section 63, which is electronic transmission of votes, or electronic transmission of results. Transmit, not transfer. What is in 2022 is transfer. And we don't want a law that is vague. We don't want a law that will be misinterpreted by anybody. We want a law that is clear, concise, and can be interpreted by all, and that is unambiguous. So it is electronic transmission of results. Yes, thank you. I think we can end it here because we've done what.
Okay, please tell me. Can somebody please explain to me what exactly this man have said? I'm not trying. I'm not trying to be funny here. I honestly got confused with everything this man explained. And this is where I have issue. It's just like the show I did yesterday about my Igbo brothers. Whenever they do this rubbish, when Hausas are in power, when they do rubbish, they will give the mic to a Yoruba man to come and defend the nonsense. Now that Yoruba man is in power, when they do rubbish, they go carry my give an Igbo man to come and explain it. Please, anybody that listens, help me put it in the chat, or you can enter the studio, Biko. What exactly did this man said now? I am lost. For all I heard is this. And I'm going to explain this. Let me use my screenshot. Hopefully, my screenshot will make it easier and better for everybody to understand. All right. Yes. Let me share my screenshot. It made me say, I know to get time today. I overslept. When I know me, I like to sleep very well in the morning. As soon as my people go school like this, I'll come back and sleep second round. Okay, let me explain it with what I got on my screen now. Hopefully this can clear the air. This is not even coming as big as I want. Let me share it directly through my StreamYard. Because this is what I understand. Please help me. Those who are politically inclined or are following what's happening in Nigeria, help me in case if I made mistakes so we can correct it. So here is what I understand from the Electoral Act of 2022. So if INE likes, meaning the transmission of electoral result is not mandatory, it's not compulsory. It is at the prerogative of INEC to transmit or not. So therefore, it is optional. That is what people are condemning in the 2022 Act. It doesn't count in court. That is another thing we get to find out, because when Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar went to court, the judge, they made it clear that, oh, if you bring all those transmissions from court, from the INEC results, INEC server, it doesn't count, that they can't use it as evidence in the proceeding. Please, lawyers in the house, lawyers and politicians in the house, isn't that what was said? So, another point, it was here before 2022 that all these, INEC has the freedom to choose if they want to transmit electronically or not, however INEC want to go about his business. That has been included in the Act before 2022. And those are the things the Senate kept. Why do we embark on electoral reform in the first place? The entire process of electoral reform is to ensure that when people come out to vote, their vote counts. Isn't that what this is all about? What is the need for electoral reform if we're still going to do the same shit anyway? Why should people come out and vote if the same law that allowed the INEC chairman and the judiciary to disappoint the entire Nigerians in the last election, if the same law is still in place, then what's the need for the joint Senate and House committee on electoral reform? So that is the point. Section A, as you can see on my screen, that is what they have in the Electoral Act. I don't know if you guys are having problem with my link. I'm going to put it at the roof and backstage. If you want, or you can call the studio number through WhatsApp. Whichever one work, okay? I'm about to end anyway, but I would love to have someone else to come and tell me about what is going on here, so that at least just for me to know that I'm not the only one who got confused. So, B, the demand is, let us have electoral reform so that result transmission to INEC server from polling unit to INEC server will be compulsory. We want it to be mandatory. It is a must. That is what Nigerians are asking for. Oh, okay, Biba, it's not clickable on this mode. For those who would like to call through WhatsApp, the number to call is 512-595-6569. Okay, don't be a stranger. This is Nigeria. This is our politics. You can see the number right there at the top, just coming through WhatsApp. I just want to understand that what the meaning I'm reading to these shenanigans is what almost everybody is reading to it. So what Nigerians demand is, we want transmission of results to be compulsory, make it mandatory, and it must be used in the court of law as evidence. And this is exactly what the Senate is rejecting. And Akpabio and his team, they are trying to spin it. I don't understand. This people think say we be mumu. Uncle Dayo, I beg. I believe you are following this, sir.
Hello. Yes, sir, I am. I'm following it, sir.
So, Uncle Dayo, help me make it make sense.
Now, what they are saying actually, thank you, sir. What they are trying to say, because in the last election of 2023, initially they were what that electoral act said was that the result will be transferred. Then people were thinking that it will be through the uploading of it from the polling unit directly into the annex server. Mm-hmm. And when people challenged them that why was this carrier, they showed them that transfer could be through electronic or through a physical transfer. That was why they could not hold that argument, because that was what was in that electoral act then. So that was the bone of contention. But this time around, they are saying that they have removed that clause, that now it is transmission only, not like transfer again. That was what they are trying to say, that this time around, we have changed that law to transmission. And then if you are going to transmit something, you cannot do it physically, you cannot transfer it again. That means you must do it through the BVAS, through the so-called electronic means, which is through computer, to upload it to the server. So that's what they are trying to bring out now. Now, the thing is just that, this particular Senate, they've done a lot of things that people may not necessarily trust them again. And I cannot blame the people until we see their signed copy of the amendment that they made in that electoral act. People may not believe, but everything that they have been saying, according to the video that you just played, is that was what they approved. Only that they do not want to create any confusion again, that it is only through transmission, which is you can only upload the results by computer through to the annex server. So that means if that is implemented, there will be no issue of taking the results from somewhere to go and count it somewhere else. You must transmit it from that polling unit as you are done with it. That's all. So that's what they are trying to make people to realize.
Uncle Dayo, even as you explain now, do you trust Nigerian Senate?
Now, the thing is this, Uncle Beno. That's why I said, if they can show us their signed copy of the resolution and of the amendment on that particular act. And again, also, remember, what happened the last time is still fresh in the mind concerning this tax issue, that the Senate claimed that what they passed was not what the executive passed, that they changed it after they have endorsed their own. If you remember that thing then about this tax issue before it was blown out. So we don't really have confidence in them anymore. I can say this because why? We don't know. Maybe even though the Senate did pass, by the time we get they may still reverse it, or they may still put one or two things there to change. And then, you know, everything will still have to come back to this particular electoral act. When they now do that, all these their shenanigans and all, they will still come back to the same law, and then they will not be bringing out the law that supports what they have done wrong. But at least for now, Nigerians are very on their tail, asking them exactly what they want. So let us see how far this will go, because I'm sure this matter will not rest until Nigerians are sure that they have passed it into law that election results must be electronically transmitted from the polling units. That is what Nigerians are standing on now.
Okay, now Uncle Dayo,
yes, sir.
yeah, I like this comment from Auntie Grace. Excellent, good one. Auntie Grace said, where is it? This is the comment. Auntie Grace said, you got it right, but what are we going to do to change them to do what me and you are advocating for? Nothing. Now, this is why I said, for me, my main focus is on Peter Obi. This is why I'm saying that we advise Peter Obi to sit this one out. Hear me out. If truly Peter Obi, Atiku Abubakar, and the rest of the people who gather themselves up in ADC claiming they are opposition party knows what they are doing, by now, the House of Assembly, the complex of that National House of Assembly, supposed to have been occupied. Uncle Dayo, I don't know whether you understand me. By now,
of course I do, sir.
The National House of Assembly should have been occupied. It's democracy. By now, Akpabio should have been finding it difficult to even leave the National Assembly complex. In a normal democracy, it's not violence. It's called occupy. They should have occupied the National Assembly now. And this is why I kept saying that Nigerians, the average Nigerians don't even know they are right. They don't know they are right. That's why for me, I would rather advise people, since they are laying the groundwork now to render your vote useless, to ensure that your mandate will be stolen once again, to ensure that the people who are looting and milking the country dry, they will continue to remain in power. And yet the Nigerian masses don't have clue. They don't have the slightest clue of what this meant. Then there is no need to be shouting and yelling. So for me, Peter Obi should just go and sit down. Peter Obi, I think when they go sit down, unless they too, they are part of the elite using all of us. Because if you truly want to fight for democracy, we all know democracy is all about what they do in the Senate. Abi Uncle Dayo, is it not what they do in the National Assembly that determine if we have democracy or not?
Yes, sir, I agree with you. But it's not yet over for Peter Obi, sir. If, because
Uncle
we are
Dayo,
now at the nitty-gritty. Wait, sir, let me explain, sir. It's not over for him yet. If Nigerians can rise up and ensure that this electoral act truly reflects what Nigerians really want, there is hope for Peter Obi. Because it will be more difficult for them. I'm not saying that they cannot read you, but it will be more difficult for any party to read. If as people are voting at their polling units, and immediately they finish their votes, it is being electronically transferred to the annex server. Everybody will see it there. It will not be easier for them. I mean, it will not be easy for them to manipulate that. What happened the last time was that at that initial stage, they were transferring it directly through the beavers. However, at some point, maybe when they realized that this result is no longer favorable or something, allegedly, they said transmission is no longer working. So they have to be transferring it. That's when they started manipulating those figures then. Because if you have to move from the polling unit to somewhere else to go and upload your results, of course, they can do any manipulation because people that really voted, they are no longer there. For instance, now, if 50 people queued up to vote at the polling unit, and after voting, the INEC officer in charge of that place, they know that 50 people came out and 50 people voted, and they transmit the result of those 50 people directly to the server. They cannot come back tomorrow.
You are just saying the same thing now. You are saying it with your Christian mind. We've gone past all that.
I would like to share your sentiment.
Sir?
See, I would like to share your sentiment, but I still want to believe that this time around, even though Nigerians are docile, even though we have laid back all this while, I want to believe that at least for the betterment of the future, Nigerians will rise up. They may not rise up violently, but I know on this issue they are not resting yet. I can tell you, I'm here. I can feel the vibes of the people over here. So you just watch it. That is why they are doing all this shalaye now. That's why they are doing it now. That's why the Senate president have to come out trying to say, no, this is not what we did, because then the Nigerians will bombard them. That's why even the Senate came out.
Uncle Dayo, you are giving Nigerians too much credit. You are giving Nigerians too much credit. Bombard what? Nigerians, youth and the old. The only bombardment they know how to do is to hide under their keyboard on Twitter. We need physical we need foot on the ground at the National Assembly. As soon as they send this BS to the president will assent to it immediately. Nobody can change it again. Trust me. What they will do, what we have seen them done over time, especially under this Tinubu administration, is you protest, we carry soldier and police face you. That's it. Have you ever seen any protest that the Tinubu administration allowed to go on peacefully? Are they not the one who will actually start coming, shooting, tear gas, shooting everything? If we don't compel the House to quickly fix that BS they got there now, that thing will get to Tinubu table overnight. Tinubu will sign it. That's it.
At the moment he does that, no election of 2027 then. Do you know why? The moment Nigerians know that that's what they pass again into law, nobody come out and vote because there's no point.
There is no problem now. Even when you come out and vote now,
there will be no election because if that's what they do. See, let us be sincere, sir. They too know the implication of all these things. What I think that they would rather do is to allow that electronic transmission of results, not transfer, electronic transmission of the results. But they will still find another way around it.
Uncle Dayo,
to do whatever they want to do. That was what, but
Uncle D.
They know that if they don't allow it, Nigerians will not even come out to vote. They will not even come out. That's the truth.
Uncle D, for the last time, explain to us again. I'm still confused. You know, say the old my ear and brain know the process some things about Nigeria. Explain to me again. What's the difference between this transfer and transmission?
Thank you, sir. The Electoral Act of 2022. In that act, they use the word transfer of result to the annex server, beavers. Now, that word is very, very technical. I think the people that did it before, they deliberately put it there. But now they have removed that particular clause, that word. They say transmit. Transmission, that means you cannot physically take results from the center to anywhere to go and send it to the server. You must do it from the polling unit. That is what these new Nigerian advocates are fighting for. That it must be through beavers. It must be through electronic transmission, not transfer. So when people heard that they only just wanted to pass the same law, like one of 2022, people started reacting. That if the Senate should do that, that's why they came now to be doing all this shalaye. That no, what they pass is transmission, not transfer, because they know that people are waiting for that particular thing. Among other things that they want them to do in that electoral act. So these are the issues. As per this, the technical issue there is transfer and transmission.
Uncle Dayo, you don't even explain it well, sir. Make I no lie, sir. It does not even make sense. Transfer, transmission. What is the complication there?
Complication is that transfer can be done through beavers or through any other means. But transmission, it could not be done like that.
Okay. Transmission means only through beavers using INEC server.
Exactly. That's transmission.
Okay. So what we have in the previous act is transfer.
Yes, sir.
And Nigeria is saying we want it to be mandatory electronic transmission.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what Nigerians are saying.
That is not the point, sir. The bone of contention is this, because I listened to Akpabio like 3 or 4 times since I decided I'm going to do this show. This is the bone of contention, sir, Uncle Dayo. Compulsory and mandatory is the real is what Nigerians wanted. Compulsory, mandatory electronic transmission of result. What they pass is it is not compulsory and it is not mandatory, but election result should be transmitted electronically. That's what they pass. We want them to state it categorically so that the INEC chairman and everybody in INEC, as well as all the people running for political office, we know that there is no other way your result is coming out than whatever is being counted at the vote at the polling unit. They are transmitting it right there at the polling unit, compulsorily, mandatorily to INEC. So that the people, so the people who are there, the people who want to protect their vote, they will know that, okay, I voted at polling unit 125. At polling unit 125, Peter Obi has 2,000 votes. Tinubu has 1,900 votes. When INEC is going to announce that result, it must tally. That's what we are saying. But the Senate, my understanding is that the Senate kept the same thing, which means it is optional. This transmission and transfer explanation they are giving now is to convince Nigerians.
Uncle Beno,
do you understand me or not?
Yes, I do. But let me quickly say this, Uncle Beno. I know where Nigerians stand. These 2 words, compulsory and mandatory, must be input in that ANEC reform.
The electoral act, yes.
Yes. This mandatory and compulsory electronic transmission must be there. But if they do not put this compulsory and mandatory, it has watered down whatever electronic transmission they wanted to do. I get that point clear. But what I am saying is that I said something earlier on. I said until I see the certified signed copy of this electoral reform that they just said they've passed, they were being very, very how would I put it? They were being very, very very, very dodgy. They didn't say anything about compulsory or mandatory. We noticed that. That's why people are